Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I am Joey. I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about having a relationship with your teacher and destroying their marriage? No? Neither have I. However, that's what we're going to be reading about today. Half Her Age by Jennette McCurdy. And let's just say it was interesting. So, we open on our protagonist Waldo having meaningless sex with her current boyfriend Randy. She talks about how it's not satisfying, how she just moans when she needs to, and men don't know how to please a woman. As they're doing the nasty, as I'll put it, you get an internal monologue from Waldo talking about how she is struggling to come to terms with her body, how it's changed over the coming years, and how she just doesn't know how to feel about herself, and how she doesn't know who she is as a person. It's a very strong opening to a book, I would say. You then have Waldo and Randy break up. So this is the first breakup we have of the book. Waldo is very hollow. She doesn't feel much. She feels like she's just used to serve a purpose for any man's desires and needs. And this is quite a reoccurring theme throughout the book, that she feels very hollow and she's just there to serve someone else. After this, Waldo goes home. She lives with her mother in a very rundown, shabby apartment. Her mother is a very absent mother, and you get a flashback to Waldo's childhood where she is told she is a difficult child to love, which her mother later backtracks on, saying, "You've misheard me," painting this kind of dynamic of Waldo is told what to believe by her mother, even though she knows what the truth is. You actually learn over the coming chapters how this shapes Waldo. Waldo's whole personality and her view on herself and the world around her is shaped by her mother. Her mother has really impacted her as an individual. From this brief glimpse into her childhood and her interaction with her mother, you suddenly are thrown into this world of online retail therapy. Waldo is a shopaholic. She buys and buys and buys things online that she does not need. She knows she doesn't need them. She doesn't want them, but it's to fill a void, an empty, hollowed out void that she feels nothing. And then as soon as she buys this, she then feels guilty because she knows she doesn't need it. She's contributing to the environment, her carbon footprint, toxic land waste, and it was just to fill a void, and she just feels empty afterwards and feels pure guilt, knowing she's going to return them. Before we even get to learn more about Waldo, we're then whisked into this other world. This book, every chapter, you'll be in a different situation a lot of the time. From the first 3 chapters, we've gone from bedroom of her ex-boyfriend, her bedroom and shopping online addiction, to now we're in her classroom at school. In this scene where she's in this classroom, we meet her English teacher, Mr. Corgi, and she starts to obsess over him. She obsesses all over his flaws, his crow's feet, his gut, his old dress sense. Everything that she sees as a flaw, she obsesses over, and she says, he isn't like other men. He's different. He's mature. Keeping in mind, he's 20 years her senior. So she is 17. He is 37. We get a glimpse here of potential daddy issues. It's very obvious that her father is not present. We've not been introduced to the father as of yet in this book. We never actually meet Waldo's father in the present. We only get glimpses of it in flashbacks. The writing style at this point in the book, I will say, is very abrupt. You don't get much flowery language. You get more to the point, abrupt, direct, written descriptions of what's happening, and then we move on to the next. There's no elaboration. There's no over-explanation. This is structured in a way to be very to the point. Waldo is a very to the point character, and since this is written in first person perspective, I wouldn't expect anything more from a hollowed out kind of teenager protagonist who, me when I was a teenager, I would say was very to the point, very abrupt. I didn't care for anything. You then learn more about her retail therapy addiction, and she works at Victoria's Secret, and that's really it. There's nothing more to it. Once the chapter regarding her job at Victoria's Secret concludes, we are then whisked again into the classroom where Waldo is presenting a poem about her life to the class. This was homework prior set by Mr. Corgi, her teacher, but we don't really get much elaboration on the task other than they are meant to start a poem with "I am" and then follow on from there. You get a very upsetting insight, I found upsetting, into Waldo's life. She describes herself as trailer trash, coming from a broken home, a broken marriage. Her father walked out on her and her mother is not present. It's a very stark contrast from everyone else's poem that talks about how great their life is, or they are this person, they want to be this when they grow up. Waldo is very much living in the past while everyone else is moving towards the present. And that becomes very apparent throughout this book. Waldo is very much living in the past, living on hatred from previous experiences and never really seeing her own value. When Waldo concludes reading this poem, she gets validated by her teacher, Mr. Mr. Corgi. He talks about how it was a really good poem. She has this moment of ecstasy. She is in euphoria. She needs his validation, and that's what creates her need for him. I don't know whether or not this is linked to the lack of father figure, where an older man acknowledging how good she's done is important to her. And I think this is really showing their dynamic of her need for validation from others. But then it's flipped on its head when we are introduced to her best friend, Franny. Waldo doesn't want validation from Franny. She, in a way, detests Franny, which is quite interesting because Franny is her best friend. And as they are walking down the corridor, you get a glimpse into Waldo doesn't like her. They've been best friends since they were younger, and she feels like a charity case because Waldo was invited to Franny's church for a play date, as it was. And they were talking about being charitable, giving back to the community in this little church class. And Waldo realized that the only reason Franny was friends with her was she felt like she was giving back, because Waldo was in a less fortunate circumstance than Franny. And this started this deep hatred towards Franny. And this is when they're really young. They've been friends for a long time. They are 17 at this point, probably been friends for like 12, 13 years. When you see how Waldo acts towards Franny, it's very apparent that she doesn't like her. Waldo has an internal monologue moment where she basically says, we need each other because we have nobody else. No one else wants to be friends with us. And it's really interesting that Waldo chooses this phrasing because Waldo is also providing insight into herself. Waldo doesn't see value in herself. Waldo then leaves Franny to go to the toilet. We have then this very explicit, intimate scene between Waldo and Mr. Corgi's Instagram, where she's looking over all these photos of him and self-happinessing herself, I will say. After this, we are then given a flashback to Waldo's childhood and her mother getting all pampered for her dad to come over. And this is where she is instilled at a very young age that you have to look pretty for a man. You have to appeal to the male gaze because if they don't want you, you're worthless. Her mother has instilled this kind of expectation to be pretty for her dad, be pretty for men, because that's all men want, is someone to look good for them. When the dad comes over when she's younger, he doesn't stay. He says, I have to go. The immediate response by Waldo's mother is, we should leave the curling irons in. We should put more mascara on. We should dress pretty. We should do this. Then when Waldo's dad comes over again, he stays for dessert with the mum. And this kind of instills further into Waldo that she has to look pretty for men. She has no self-value, which she's learned from her mother. Her mother is very self-deprecating. Her mother wants to please men, and that's all she aims to do. She needs this validation. Then you learn about the copious amounts of relationships her mother's had, where she falls for a guy, they date, they break up, her mother goes into a depression, loses a job. House goes into a tip, and Waldo's there to pick up the pieces. Waldo is a parent for her mother. And this happens over and over and over and over again throughout Waldo's life, and Waldo is used to it. She still doesn't want her mum to have her heart broken when she starts dating this new guy called Tony. This need for validation, because it comes from her mother, is why when Mr. Corgi praised her for her poem, she was euphoric. She was so happy because she was noticed, because she felt like she was catering to the male gaze. And that is something that is consistent throughout the book. Waldo is going to consistently self-deprecate herself, force herself into a box for the male gaze because she wants to appease Mr. Corgi. I will say, when reading this, I became very uncomfortable at numerous points. The sexual language used, I was not okay with. It was very blunt and very descriptive sometimes. And I don't know, it made me uncomfortable. I'm not a big reader of smut. I thought I'd push myself because I feel like reading things that make you uncomfortable can make you a better person because you're pushing yourself out your comfort zone. So on numerous occasions when I was reading this, I became quite uncomfortable. I became a bit squeamish as such. I'm also going to highlight that the obsession Waldo has for Mr. Corgi is extremely unhealthy. It is dangerous, obsessive level, like stalkerish. She fantasizes about him. It's like he is her life force. She needs him to live, and she cannot live without him, which is absolutely crazy. She's only just met him. This is what I mean. She's got daddy issues. That's all I'm going to say. She has daddy issues combined with validation issues. Yeah, that's something else. We then have a very interesting thing when Mr. Corgi invites Waldo over for dinner at his house. Waldo takes him up on this. She wants to have dinner with him. She's obsessed with him. Then we get this montage, this very blunt, very listed kind of written structure of she waxed her arm, she shaved her legs, she exfoliated her legs, she moisturized her, she bought loads of products, she bought a new dress, she did this, she did this, she did this. And it's just listed like a montage. And I could imagine it as a montage where it's like a getting ready montage because she wants to appease Mr. Corgi. She wears and zips down her top a bit more so it appeals to Mr. Corgi. She is dressing for Mr. Corgi, not for herself, not for her own self-worth, for Mr. Corgi. And this is very frustrating because I'm just like, girl, get a bloody grip with yourself. No man is worth this much effort. You do this effort for yourself. But no, she's doing it for Mr. Corgi. Then she turns up for dinner at Mr. Corgi's house. She meets Gwen, Mr. Corgi's wife. She sees what Gwen looks like and it's this immediate competition. She's comparing herself to Gwen. It's this, oh, Gwen dresses this way. She's very thin. She's not conventionally attractive. But she then compares Gwen to herself and then she zips up her top, becomes a bit more reserved because clearly Mr. Corgi doesn't want someone with their breasticles pointed out to everyone. He wants a more modest woman. So she then starts being a bit modest. Then we go to the dinner scene, which I think was so awkward because Gwen is like, so tell us about yourself, Waldo. Mr. Corgi talks about you so much. And Waldo is a very deflective person. I have experienced what Waldo does because I've done it myself, where when you are in a situation you don't want to be in or you don't want to be near somebody, you will state things to try and make them not ask questions about yourself. I did this after my dad died because I didn't really want to talk to people. So then Waldo would bring up all these negative things. To be like, oh yeah, I'm white trash, I'm this, I come from a broken home. She lists all these things off, which then Gwen becomes uncomfortable, and Waldo knows Gwen's uncomfortable. Waldo is very emotionally intelligent, and I will give her that. She can really read somebody and understand the situation. She also misreads things. When she's looking at Gwen and she sees Gwen's becoming uncomfortable, at this moment, their son, Gregory, comes in and she goes, oh, I'm going to take Gregory to bed. Gregory wants mummy, so I'll leave you two to talk. Waldo is like, finally, I get a moment with Mr. Corgi. It's like this, she's winning this battle. She's winning this war kind of scenario. She's got a time with him. And throughout the evening, and then when she gets this moment with him, she's reading into him. She's like, he doesn't want to be with Gwen. He needs a woman that makes him masculine. He's emasculated by Gwen. Gwen has him by the balls. Gwen doesn't allow him to be who he wants to be. He has lost his manhood. He isn't a man. I feel like this is behavior she's learned from her mum because basically she's turning around and saying, Gwen has made Mr. Corgi not a man. Mr. Corgi isn't who he's meant to be. A woman is meant to make a man feel bold, strong, masculine, meant to be, "Rah!" And I'm like, no. Mr. Corgi is in a healthy relationship with his wife, and just because he isn't this stereotypical man that you've seen your mother fall over head over heels for, doesn't mean he's not happy. This is where I feel like Waldo does cross a line in a way. She doesn't cross any boundaries in regards to personal space, but it's this self-convincing that Corgi needs her. He is like a Corgi dog. He needs somebody to look after him and make him feel better about himself because clearly he's not happy. The meal ends because Gwen comes down, they go back to their normal conversation and Waldo goes home. Waldo gives Mr. Corgi her number and they start messaging. This is just the gateway. This is just gonna go down a rabbit hole into deep shit. That's what's gonna happen. Then you get it where they're at a dance. It's probably like a winter form or Mr. Corgi is chaperoning. One thing leads to another and they're in the classroom, or I believe she goes into his classroom and then he's there and she dry humps him until he comes. And that is the gateway into a whole other crock of shit. It starts the affair. It becomes like a hush little secret. They basically are hooking up. You get a lot of chapters about basically meaningless sex. But Waldo is catering to Corgi. She wants him. She needs him. He is a drug she cannot be without. She feels like she's empowering him. She feels like her cupping every part of his body, giving him what he needs and what he wants. He is remasculated. He needs her. He is becoming who he's meant to be because that's what a woman is apparently for. A woman is meant to be what a man needs. Well, no. Mr. Corgi is like a 37-year-old man that is married, has a wife. He seems pretty happy and now he's cheating on his wife with a 17-year-old. Women don't need to be what men need. And this is what frustrates me about Waldo is very smart, but she's conditioned by her mother that she's meant to be there to appease men. And I'm like, no, Waldo is so smart, and she doesn't realize how smart she is. She spends more on clothes, all for the sake of Corgi being happy about her. She reads into every single thing that when he's wearing this cardigan, he's having a good day. When he's wearing this cologne, when he's telling her this, when he's acting a certain way, he is happy. This is one thing I'm finding with Waldo, is she's at a point where she's reading into things so much that it kind of provides her with a self-convincing. She now thinks that because she is part of an affair and she is his dirty little secret, he is happy. At the same time, she's wrecking a home. She is becoming a home wrecker, but she does not care because that's not what she thinks about. She is currently thinking about she is what he needs. We get a couple chapters about sex and just constant sex, and you then see that Mr. Corgi validates Waldo a lot. He tells her she's special, gives her compliments, says he needs her. This is keeping Waldo entranced with him, keeping her on his string, on his hook, so she knows she can do nothing else. She needs him. That's all she thinks about. She talks about the quick messages they get between him dropping Gregory off and picking up food and basically being everything he needs in between his everyday busy life. We're then given a scene where Waldo is at the diner with her mother. She's all happy, she's all cheery, she's checking her phone. You get this kind of narcissistic kind of vibe from her mother of because Waldo is happy and her mother is miserable because her boyfriend Tony's not messaged her back, Waldo has to be miserable. And you get this insight into Waldo's mother that Waldo's mother will not pay an extra $2 for egg white omelette because that's too expensive. But then she will proceed to pay out the nose for alcohol to get drunk. And it kind of shows where Waldo's mum's priorities are. Waldo's mum's priorities are drinking, getting laid, and being a source of validation for men, while their validation keeps her going. And that really cements my opinion on Waldo's mother being a very disgusting human being and not being a parent. She isn't present and she doesn't care about Waldo. You then get a scene where Corgi and Waldo are doing it in the storage closet of his classroom, and they nearly get caught by a teacher. And that's where Corgi sets boundaries. He's like, we are being too reckless. We can't be reckless. We have to be more discreet. And I'm like, you're already being discreet. You've not been caught. Like, you're lucky. He says his feelings towards her have not changed, they just need to be more careful. Waldo needs that validation because she doesn't want to lose him. She's scared of losing him. And this is so apparent. She's so scared to lose him. This is made more prevalent when Waldo and Corgi are watching a film. And Waldo really doesn't care about the film. And Corgi's really happy about the film. He's like, oh, this is a good film, isn't it? What do you need me to explain? And he like mansplains the film a bit. Waldo goes, just not into it. It's just not for me. And she sees Corgi's upset. She sees that she's hurt his feelings. She then strokes his ego because if he is upset, she's not doing her job properly. She's already said she's meant to be there to make him better, make him feel more like a man. And it seems for him to feel like a man, he can't be upset in her eyes. So she validates him. She says she cares about how influential these movies were for the time and how they shaped like modern culture. However, she doesn't feel that way. She knows she's stroking his ego. Then we get a scene where they're starting to be intimate and she feels recoiled by his touch. I find that her being recoiled by his touch but still going through with what they're doing highlights kind of that at a subconscious level she doesn't agree with what's going on. She isn't happy with what they're doing, but she's going with it anyway because she likes the rush. Yeah, I think Waldo is a complex character, but can be really boiled down to her constant need for validation and wanting to make other people feel validated as well. It's a weird dynamic. She's got like an internal battle going on within herself. You then have Christmas break and then they go back to school and you have Waldo kind of laying out their sex life like a biology anatomy kind of thing, you know, where it's like exhibit A, exhibit B, exhibit C, where she's like, exhibit A, a kiss here, exhibit B, a quick pump and thrust here, exhibit C, a quick ass squeeze, kind of lays it out in a way that is very easy to understand. This kind of way of like comparing it to example A, example B, example C, exhibit A, exhibit A, exhibit B, it kind of dehumanizes the experience because she is laying it out very black and white. and there's nothing else to it. It's all a rhythm, it's all a routine, it's very mundane and very monotonous. However, you then realize that Corgi is potentially going to get caught by his wife because she's like, why are you spending so much time on your phone? Like, be more present, you know, because everyone's obsessed with technology these days, that we're not present with our families. And so she says that he is being on his phone a lot, and he goes, oh shit, like, I'm going to change it to Kurt. So he changes her name in the phone to Kurt. She is now called Kurt in his phone. I was like, wow, you just can't keep Waldo's name there. Maybe just be a bit more discreet with the messaging. But no, you changed it to Kurt. And I don't think that's going to change anything, because if you're going to be on your phone a lot, now you're messaging Kurt, she's going to be like, you're still on your phone a lot. Like, it doesn't make sense. The wife says you've been on your phone too much. And you go, I'm going to change your name to Kurt. No, you don't change your name to Kurt. You go off your phone less to be less suspicious. Because if your name's Kurt, and it's Waldo you're messaging, it's still going to be the same amount. It doesn't make sense. It discombobulates me a bit. I'm like, why? Like, I don't understand this logic. The next few parts of the book are quite interesting because it shows this lack of concern Corgi actually has for Waldo, how he sees her as a bit of a plaything. You have a scene where they're at it and the wife calls. He stops it there and he goes, oh, I need to take this. And you can sense Waldo is annoyed, because then Waldo then goes into this kind of like competition. She then wants to make him feel validated. She then starts doing stuff to him while he's on the phone because she wants him to make him feel like a man. He isn't a man because of his wife. She's giving back his identity as such. But Corgi doesn't have this identity. Corgi is a pathetic man who is loving the fact that a younger woman is showing interest in him. And yeah, it's just a little bit more frustrating because you get glimpses throughout this book that Waldo knows she's better than what she's doing, but she keeps doing it because she needs the validation. She needs him. Once he's done on the phone call, he's like, I've got to go. She gets quite upset by it and he doesn't care because she is also keeping it inside, because if she at any point objects to anything, she feels like she will lose him, because men don't like it when women object. And this is her view. She has these views which are so draconic and so deprecating that it's really sad. It's very sad. And she's happy being his mistress. She's happy being the dirty little secret, because to quote her, she's giving back his masculinity. You then move on to it's Waldo's birthday. Her mother's gotten her gifts. To be honest, the gifts aren't that great. Waldo is not happy with the gifts. She pretends to be happy for her mum, but they're like 3 years out of touch. The gifts that she has gotten were what she wanted 3 years ago, not what she wants now. She has a car now and she got an electric scooter. The electric scooter she wanted 3 years ago. And her mum's like, I knew you wanted it. It's the one you always wanted. And it shows the lack of communication and the lack of relationship which they have. She is looking forward to her plans with Corgi though. They're meant to go on a date. Corgi then cancels on her because life comes up. The wife and the kid are the priority. Corgi then reinstates the plans like about half an hour, maybe an hour later. It doesn't really specify in the book. Corgi has too much power over Waldo, and Waldo kind of knows this. She referenced that he knows she has nothing else to do. He knows she wants to be with him and she will drop anything at her hat. She will leave her job for him if it comes to that. And it's so interesting that she's so self-aware. She's like really self-aware. So self-aware that he has got so much power over her, but she doesn't do anything because that is not what a man wants. And she has this pre-notion that men do not want a woman with thoughts and feelings. They just want a glorified sex doll. This moment highlights the power imbalance, the inequality in the relationship they have. They then go on this picnic and Waldo becomes aware that Corgi doesn't want to get to know her. He only cares about himself. He talks about himself non-stop. We learn about his sister dying when he was young and he feels grief about it, but he never asks about her. He never wants to get to know Waldo. And then we get this whole kind of mansplaining thing where he's explaining this sort of author to her. And I was just there like, I don't even care. Like, why, who is this person? Like, yeah, I looked him up and I can't say his name. Chavosk, I don't know. Chevrolet. And yeah, it was kind of a sad moment. I had this lack of care as well towards Waldo because she doesn't care about herself, and I struggle to care about the character that doesn't care about herself, but she knows her own worth, but she doesn't give herself that worth. She's like, oh, self-worth, bye. And it's really annoying. It's annoying. Very annoying. The preceding chapters, them having sex, then having another montage of getting ready for him, making herself so pretty and beautiful for him, and then I think he cancels. And when he cancels, she is distraught. And it's really interesting because she's crying and you get this like dribbles of snot down her nose. But before that, Corgi was saying about how this very intimate scene in the car before they had sex, I know they actually spoke before they had sex at one point, and he was like, I had a fantasy about you where everyone in the world froze and stood still and we were just together and we could be together forever and no one would stop us. Waldo even says, oh, he's probably saying this so I stay with him and I'm still reliant on him. And then she then fucks him. And I'm like, no, like you are so self-aware, but you don't allow yourself to believe it. She convinces herself other things while knowing what the truth is. And Corgi uses this. This is the puny nature of this sardine-brained man. He is manipulating this young girl, young woman, for his own pleasure because he knows he can. He got an inch, he went for a mile because of his micro penis. He is manipulating this girl, and that annoys me. We digress. So they actually managed to reschedule this meeting, this date, this so-called love affair kind of situation, and they go to a restaurant. In this restaurant, they're ordering, they sit down, they're gonna have their food, and Corgi gets a call. And he takes the call outside. He leaves Waldo on their date in a restaurant to go outside. Corgi then comes back, and Waldo actually stands up for herself. I'm proud of what she does in this moment. She basically asks him not to take calls around her when they're together, because she gets such little time with him. She values that time with him. And you know what he does? Do you know what Mr. Corgi does? You know what he does? I made a note of exactly what he says. You are usually so understanding. You are usually so understanding. Boy, manipulation. He is basically saying, oh, I'm not happy that you're standing up for yourself. I want you to be this ideal woman for me. So I'm gonna say, you're usually so understanding because you're being the shit man. You're cheating on your wife and then you ain't even showing your mistress good time of day. Like, boy, you can't, well, I was gonna say you can't have your cake and you eat it, but he is in theory having his cake and eating it because he's getting a wife, a child, a nuclear family dynamic, and then he's getting a mistress. So yeah, I hate Mr. Corgi. I lost my composure. After he states you're usually so understanding, he then flips the narrative in a way and requires validation from Waldo. And it's so apparent that he's done this specifically to kind of make her feel like she's got a bit of power. To be like, oh, maybe he does need me as much as I need him. And that's what he wants. He's flipping the narrative just so she lets down her guard and she tries to be what he wants. Jennette McCurdy is doing such a good job at annoying me, and I love it. We then kind of go into stalker territory in a way because Corgi goes on holiday with his wife. They're gone for like a week and Waldo just can't bear to be without him. She's distraught. She doesn't know what she's gonna do. She's going cold turkey from her hubby. And it's so interesting because she's so blunt with how she speaks and describes and narrates things, but yet you get so much emotion with her obsession. She breaks into Mr. Corgi's house just to sniff his cologne and his perfume and everything. She is obsessed with him in an unhealthy way, but that's what Mr. Corgi needs, an unhealthy obsession with him so he keeps getting what he wants because, you know, fragile ego. So as she's breaking into Mr. Corgi's house, she gets this kind of fantasy imagery where she's the chosen one. Corgi is bending her over in front of Gwen while she cries because she's won. Waldo has won. And that's all she cares about, is being Mr. Corgi's chosen. That's why she keeps doing this affair, because she feels like she's been chosen over Gwen, but she's insecure because, as shown prior, when she got the phone call, she was like, oh my God, like, I can't deal with the fact you're showing another woman attention, even though you're cheating on him with me. It's interesting because it's a lot of things are going on. This kind of like concoction, amalgamation of emotions and self-awareness, self-deprecation, requiring of validation, affairs, everything. The narrative is so well written. I'm loving this. So addictive. Yeah, like so much is going on. I'm loving it. Waldo has this scene where she's imagining she's the chosen one and getting bent over by Corgi, to then have Corgi end the relationship. Corgi ends the relationship and this leaves Waldo distraught. Waldo is crumbling inside because of it. She doesn't know how she's going to cope. But Corgi doesn't use the word breakup. He uses very specific languages, very specific sentence structures. He is what Waldo knows to be of a man, because her mum has had all these lines said to her before, these spoonfuls of honey being poured in her ear to keep her sedated, to keep her wanting, to keep his options open. And that's what Corgi's doing to Waldo. He is giving her sweet nothings, sweet lies. So then when he's like, woof woof, I want you again, she's like, yes, come to me. I will have you. I will eat this up because you gave me what I needed and you left an open door open. You left an open door open. Oh, I'm a poet. He is leaving his options open by doing this. Waldo knows this. She has experiences of her mother having gone through this. She still wants him. When they go back to school, he's teaching, she's in her classes, he ignores her. Then she goes into a state of depression, doesn't go to school, doesn't go to work. Waldo then tells her friend Franny. Franny turns round and goes, we should do something about it. We should say something. And Waldo points out that Franny's getting off on this. Franny wants to get Corgi in trouble so she can be the savior. She has a savior complex. She wants to be this hero. Waldo says, no, I don't want to do that. We then proceed to have Waldo get in a relationship with somebody else called Nolan. They then go on a date to this restaurant with Franny and Tristan. So then you have Waldo, Nolan, Tristan and Franny all in a restaurant having a meal. It's really interesting because the way that Waldo needs validation from men, Franny gets the same ecstasy feeling from Tristan when he does the Lord's Prayer over a meal. Really interesting, contrasting characters. But guess what? Corgi is there at the restaurant because it's his birthday. It is his birthday. He gets up from eating his meal with his family, he leaves, and then they make eye contact and he freezes. He's like, oh shoot. Waldo then drives home and then ends up outside his house and contemplates whether to ruin his life. I love this part because it makes you realize she knows she has power. She has power over Mr. Corgi. She has the ability to ruin his life. I think that is so important to the narrative because the tables are turning, and that is shown in the next scene with Mr. Corgi and Waldo. Waldo's leaving work, right? Gets in a car. Mr. Corgi on that window, she rolls it down. You've not been turning in your assignments. I will have to fail you if you don't do that. And you know what Waldo says? Turns to him. No, you won't. And she drives off. Power play. She has power played him. She knows he can't fail her because if he fails her, she will destroy him. And I'm like, go girl. Like, yes, you're getting your power back. And I love this. I'm loving the way that it's being written because it's so blunt and to the point. And the way she was said that, I'm like, that's such Waldo's character. The fact she has said that to Corgi, I think shitted him up. He probably was like, oh my God, she knows she can ruin my life. The power dynamic has shifted because when they're together, she needed his validation. And now that they've broken up, she can ruin his career. And I loved that. I actually started to like Waldo because of this. I thought this was incredible. It gave me a euphoric moment of, yes, you go girl. And I was so happy. And then we had the prom scene. I am going to say that I've never backtracked on liking someone so much when all she has done for prom is wear the dress that Mr. Corgi would like, the color that he loves. She has done her hair a certain way. She's wearing heels, pushing up her boobs, everything just for Corgi. You're like, why has she done it for Mr. Corgi? Because she wants to make him jealous. And yes, this is very different to her desiring him. Now she's trying to make him jealous. But to me, trying to make someone jealous comes from desiring someone, and she's not let go of him. She wants a different form of validation now. She's with this very lovely boy called Nolan now, and it's like she's trying to throw it away and ruin it for Mr. Corgi. You then have the prom, and guess what? They hook up. Not Nolan, Mr. Corgi and Waldo. And then guess what? Guess what? Nolan breaks up with Waldo. He drops off at home and says, this isn't working. You have your guards up and I've been trying to break them down. Keep in mind, at this point, they've done the nasty with each other. They've been together, I don't know, maybe a few months at this time because it's a prom, so I'm assuming maybe a different 6-month period. I don't know the time frame. And she has lost a really good character. She has lost a really good boyfriend. And you know what? She knows it. She is actually upset that he broke up with her. And that's because he didn't want validation from her. He just wanted her to be loved and he wanted to be there for her. And she couldn't see that because she was obsessing over Mr. Corgi. Keep in mind she cheated on him prior that night, so karma's a bitch. I'm just annoyed that Corgi and Waldo got back together, but you know what? When you're at chapter like 60 in a book that's got 88, something else is gonna happen. Like, I was annoyed. I was like, great. Now I have 28 more chapters of being annoyed. You then just have a few chapters of Corgi tells Waldo he loves her and Waldo graduates. And that's it really. Nothing else happens other than that. Now that Waldo has graduated, Corgi has the power back in a way because Waldo is no longer able to say, I've slept with my teacher, because she no longer is at the school. And that is something that I find very interesting. I was looking forward to seeing where that goes. After the breakup, and now that Waldo is fully invested in Mr. Corgi again, you suddenly start to see that Waldo has anger towards Mr. Corgi. And I mean, she's so smart and calibrated because they'll go to a restaurant, she won't order the most expensive thing. She'll order the second most expensive thing because she wants to punish him. She's angry, she's lashing out at him because she's not happy. And keep in mind, he is still with his wife. He has not left his wife for Waldo. And during this meal at the restaurant where she's ordered the second most expensive thing, because as you do, she wanted white sea bass and she wanted to lash out at him, she starts to feel like she's walking on eggshells. She says that a lot. She's walking on eggshells. She can't say specific things or it'll upset him, or she doesn't want him to leave her because she wants him and he wants her. And it's very much back to square one. The power dynamic is really in his favor. She's catering to his needs. And it's this behavior that was instilled in her as a child, just being ever so more prevalent. She feels a sense of resentment towards Mr. Corgi in a way that does not make sense when you've gotten back with somebody after you were broken up, which shows how she needs him. But I think it also highlights that she realizes she doesn't need him, but she doesn't want to convince herself that. She is trying to convince herself she still wants to be with him when she doesn't. We are then met with a very, 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 very disturbing scene, which I'm not going to go into, which involves menstruation, sex, and slapping. We then move on to Corgi and Waldo having sex. Gwen, the wife, comes home and he's like, hide, and shoos her into the closet. Gwen then comes in and Corgi's on his iPad with his headphones in. He's a very good actor. And Waldo's picked this up quite a lot, that he's very good at lying. And Gwen tries to come on to him. And you're like, oh, he's getting some action from his wife. He must be happy. He rejects her. He doesn't want to be with her. It really shows that though he blames his wife, Waldo kind of thought that his wife was responsible for their relationship collapse. That's not the case. Waldo is not correct about how he has described their relationship and how she's viewed it. Gwen wants a healthy relationship, but Corgi doesn't. Corgi is very much a destructive force to everyone's lives. And yeah, I think Waldo is starting to see that. This time around, Waldo ends the relationship. Waldo decides she doesn't want to be with Corgi anymore. I'm like, yes, go girl, like end that relationship. You don't want to be with him. And Corgi grovels. Corgi acts like a child. Messages her non-stop. Calls her unbelievable amounts of times. And I just read that and I was like, it's amazing how you were so tight for time before when you were together, but now that Waldo's ended the relationship, you need her. You can't be without her. You are so dependent on her. And he is a child, not a teenager, a child begging. Like there's iPad kids, when you remove their iPad, they're like, I want my iPad. And they're crying and throwing a tantrum. That is Corgi. Imagine a 37-year-old man groveling for an 18-year-old, because she's 18 now, 18-year-old's affection. Then, guess what? He leaves his wife for her. He leaves his wife for her. Corgi messaged Waldo saying, come here, come to this hotel, and I'm leaving my wife. And he does. He leaves his wife. He leaves his wife for Waldo. That's entrapment. This is not okay. What on earth is going on? I do not know what to expect anymore, because you're like, break up together. Now I'm going to leave my wife for you. But saying that, Gwen deserved better. You deserve better, Gwen. You don't need this Corgi man, this insufferable, sardine, tuna-headed man who is probably less appetizing than Vegemite and Marmite combined on a slice of whole wheat. He is vile. You deserve better, Gwen. Jennette McCurdy, make Gwen a happier person. Give her a good life after this book. Give her a good life. You deserve better, Gwen. So yeah, They move in together. Waldo and Corgi move in, they live together. Waldo gets a promotion at work. Corgi starts writing on his book. And then the honeymoon phase ends. Waldo doesn't want sex with Corgi all the time. She doesn't find him that interesting anymore. She's not happy about being with him. This person she desired and wanted to be with and idolized, and throughout this entirety of this book, wanted him from chapter 3. Didn't want him. It's like that kind of thing, like never meet your celebrities or whatever. Like never meet the people you idolize because they're not who you want. They're not who they really are in person. And this is what it's like for her. She's gotten her celebrity, her Mr. Corgi, and she doesn't want it. You then get this really heartwarming scene with her mother. I know, mother's barely mentioned other than being a narcissistic bitch. And she gets this really lovely scene with her mother where her mother has realized that she's got a problem with men. She realizes her behaviors are not good, and she starts going to these like AA equivalent meetings, and she gets sponsored, and she's getting her life back on track. And she says to Waldo, let's take that trip to Suet that we always said we would. Waldo is so happy her mother's getting her life back on track, and I am happy for Waldo because the reason Waldo is so messed up is because of her mother. Going back to when Waldo didn't want sex with Mr. Corgi, it was kind of like celebrate like a relationship milestone. Like, oh yeah, that just means we're growing as a couple. I'm like, why is that a relationship milestone? God, these characters are confusing sometimes. Like, good for you. Like, yay. Like, cool. We then woven into this kind of reality where Waldo is not happy because Corgi is so clingy. He is a very clingy individual, messaging her constantly, not letting her have time to breathe. And we then get this scene where Waldo bins all of this overconsumption. She's binning these nail polishes, these out-of-date products, because she's realizing she's hoarding them and she doesn't want that anymore. She doesn't want to be that person anymore. After this scene, Waldo decides she's not going to go to Corgi's that night because she's still living at home, though she lives with him a lot of the time. And she just talks to her mum, and her mum seems to be doing a lot better. Her mum is on this 100-day kind of detox of not talking to men and having sex with men. And Waldo seems so happy. She seems to be happy with her life. Waldo seems so happy for her mum. Like their life is getting so much better. And you realize that the reason Waldo's life is so shit is because she boils it down to the chaotic nature that her mum has instilled in the world around her. And so you're getting a bit of a heartwarming moment of everything's getting better for Waldo. And if she dumps Corgi, it will be better for her. She needs to dump Corgi. That's what I say. You then get this scene where Waldo goes back home. Well, her second home. She goes back to Mr. Corgi. He is drunk, and you learn a bit more about their vices, their addictions. He's addicted to drinking at the moment, and she's addicted to watching Survivor. They have an argument, and they break up. Waldo breaks up with him, and he becomes quite vile. He insults her, and you're like, grow up. And he says something interesting, which is, can't remember it verbatim, but it's on the lines of, when you want me, you're a woman, but when we break up and it fits your narrative, you're a child. And it's so interesting how he's just trying to manipulate Waldo and make Waldo out to be a bad person when she is just a misled teenager. She doesn't know what she wants in the world. And this is what's annoying me with Corgi, is he's a grown-ass adult that doesn't understand he needs to grow up. Period. Waldo then goes to Franny's moving away party. Waldo has not spoken to Franny since graduation. They have become estranged friends, and there's no way they're going to rekindle this relationship. You get this very interesting sharp contrast where they're having a conversation about their future. Waldo doesn't know what she wants to do, but Franny has her whole life planned out. And Waldo goes, are you not sad or scared that your life's planned out? And she goes, no, I like knowing what my future's going to hold. It kind of shows how Waldo's a bit more of a free spirit compared to Franny that wants this structure. But you don't get much insight into Franny really throughout this book. I think she's just added for plot purposes only. She's like when you charge your phone when you need it, and then you unplug it when you don't need it anymore. That's how she's used in this book. Like, oh, we need her, don't need her anymore. Oh, we need her, Don't need her anymore. Then Waldo visits Corgi. Corgi is passed out. He's quit his novel. He is delusional. He knew he was never going to be a writer. Waldo provides him no reassurance. She gives him no reassurance whatsoever. She's done with his shit. But then Waldo visits him again. I think pick up some of her stuff. And there's a clue. And she reads the clue and she follows these clues around the house. Corgi is like love bombing her and goes, "We're going to Hawaii. Yeah." Basically, I think though they're broken up, he thinks they're still together. They want each other. Let's go to Hawaii because, you know, Hawaii, slap a band-aid on it, fix the relationship. And I will say, Waldo made a very good point earlier, which is sometimes couples goes on relationships to try and respark the thing they lost. Waldo then just pretends to be happy. She's like, "Yay, Hawaii." And she doesn't want to go to Hawaii. She is repulsed by Corgi. And yeah, I just am at this point where I'm just done with Waldo. I'm like, girl, you're not happy. You broke up with him. Leave his ass. The next few chapters are chaotic because it's wrapping up the book. It plays out in a very interesting way. Corgi and Waldo go to the airport. They are boarding group D, I believe. And she goes to the toilet. And then she freezes. Like, I don't want to be with him. I don't want this for myself. And she gets self-respect. By the end of this book, she gets self-respect. Took her 270 odd pages to get self-respect. Why? So then she walks away from Corgi. She doesn't go to the boarding group because she's gone to the toilet. He's waiting for them to board. She then goes. She goes home. And she's like, I'm going to go on this trip to Suet with my mum. She gets home, the bedroom door's ajar. She walks to the bedroom door, opens it. Her mum's lying on her bed, getting it on with Tony, the guy she broke up with and said she'd never see again. And yeah, Waldo doesn't even feel anger. It's at this moment Waldo realizes she set her mum on such a high pedestal that all she had to do was lower expectations and she wasn't angry anymore. Waldo leaves, she gets in the car, she drives to Suet. And as she drives to Suet, she has missed calls from Corgi, missed calls from her mum. She turns off her phone and we end it there. She ends knowing her value. Overall, I really enjoyed the book. I think the character work was incredible and the pacing was amazing. I think the way that Waldo was written, and I hated Waldo on so many occasions and hated Corgi so much, was incredible. I think the way Jennette McCurdy wrote the book, the structure, the bluntness, the to the direct point, it wasn't done in a way that we were going to expect. Floral languages. She was consistent throughout the book that it was written in a perspective that I would say a sullen, self-loathing, hating teenager would describe things. Blunt and to the point. The building up in the relationship and the codependency that Corgi and Waldo had on each other was really, really well done. All the side characters had their key part and were written so well. I would really say this is a great book. A few notes I'd probably say is the sex scenes were just not for me. Some of them were very graphic compared to others. It kind of not put me off the book, made me uncomfortable. But I will say being uncomfortable is good. Reading a book that makes you uncomfortable is important. You should never shy away from being uncomfortable because being uncomfortable pushes you out your comfort zone. And that's what's important. And yeah, I think this book was great. I would recommend it. It is a short read. Though I read this as a buddy read, it only took me 4 or 5 days to read it. And the audiobook is chef's kiss. Jennette McCurdy does such a good job at narrating this as well. I'm a fan of immersive reading because it helps with my dyslexia. But no, it's a good book. Very good pacing, very well written characters, very good dialogue and believable dialogue. I just love that Waldo got self-respect at the end. Those are my thoughts on Half His Age. If you have any book recommendations, please comment below because I'm always up for a good book recommendation. If you like bookish content, give us a follow and I'll see you next time. As always, happy reading.